Hey folks, I feel really heavy to tell a story. It's my story. And in a minute, my wife's gonna come tell her story. Y'all, I feel so heavy to do this. I can't even explain it. See, growing up, I really didn't have anybody but my mom and dad. I was the youngest of two or three. Both my brothers were 6 and 7 years older than me. So you can imagine the picking and beating and everything else that I received growing up. Not only from my brothers, but their friends also. For the most part, I was a sweet kid. The type of person that someone in the neighborhood was sick, because we knew everybody, I would go ride my bike to their house and check on them. That all turned real quick when I started seeing hate in people's eyes, and I didn't know why. I don't know why, what I did wrong for people to feel that way about me. So all of the beatings I got from other kids and my brothers and their friends, it turned me into a not so good person. Pretty much evil. And I was that way until I met my wife in 2009. In 2002, I was 18 years old. I'd taken some pills. I didn't know what they were. Someone told me they were something they weren't. And I took 4 of them, and I overdosed. And I literally saw hell. It wasn't because I was high. I've had people tell me that, and they look at me like I'm crazy. But I so happen to look back at them like they're crazy because I know scripture. So when I get to this place, it was really dark in there, but you could still see because there was lava streams on each side. So it was like a low light. I could see outlines of everything. And I saw this giant chair. It had to have been 3 stories tall. And I didn't want to go to it, but I was drawn to it. I was pulled to it. And this chair turns around, and I see this giant finger coming to my face. And it pointed right at my face and said, "You see your future home." And the only way I can explain it is it felt like a vacuum cleaner. I was back in my body. And I took this deep breath. And the next thing I did was look in the mirror, and I was solid blue. Solid blue. My lips, my skin, everything. I don't know how long it was for, but it scared me. But I still didn't change. I still had that rage inside of me from the way I was treated my whole life. And it wouldn't leave. And all it did was torture me. And then, I got in some bad relationships. I think everybody has. The one I was with before my wife, it was terrible. It was terrible. She had me feeling like I was crazy. Cheating on me all the time, and I was trying to track it down and calling these guys up on the phone, and I wanted to know for myself. But sorry, I gotta unlock the car here. But I had to know for myself, so that's why I did that. And I'd met her like I said, in August of 2009, and I just got out of that bad relationship. And something about her drew me in more than any other person that I've ever met in my life. It wasn't just looks, and it wasn't just personality. There was something about her that made me want to be more of a man. And I tried my best. You know I tried my best. Y'all, in 2012, I don't even know who they were.
I don't remember who they were.
It was some kind of street evangelist or something.
Yeah.
He came up out of nowhere to the house and was talking to us about the Lord. I didn't know anything about the Lord. I'd never been told anything about the Lord. And I saw her give her life to Christ. And I saw this I can't even explain this peace. I saw it all over her. And I said, I want that so bad, because I had this hatred and rage in me, and I don't want it anymore. And then I found it. A few months later, I had so many questions I would ask so many people. I should have picked up my Bible, but I didn't. I just asked questions. And then I found the Lord. And then our baby died. And I saw her fall away. Completely, utterly fall away. So I saw this peaceful, beautiful woman that I fell in love with fall completely away from God and push herself away from me and everything else. 2018 rolled around. Well, I should say 2015. And I had this job. It was torture. She's my witness. It was torture. I would work 16 plus hours a day. Sometimes this man, my boss, he would have me working 24 hours straight. I rarely got to see her or the kids, and I only worked 30 minutes down the road. I was always at work. I would have one Saturday off, every 3 months or so.
And then he would call you in.
Yeah, and then he would call me in on my day off. So I didn't, I was overworked. And I was drained all the time. I was so tired, but I tried to push through to be the man I was supposed to be for my family. And I was trying to bring myself back to the Lord. But it was so hard because that was still in my mind. I found my son dead. And it messed my mind up for a while. Right? It was just so traumatic. And I tried so hard. And I got hurt at work. You see, it was really bad. And I tried to work through it. Tried to play the tough guy. Tried to work through it. And I couldn't anymore. I just couldn't do it. Found out what was wrong 2 years later. Had a surgery. And my heart stopped once again. But this time I knew the Lord. And I loved the Lord. This time when my heart stopped, I didn't see hell. I just felt a peace. Unexplainable. I mean, it was beautiful. I wanted to stay in it. I didn't care about nothing here. It was just that strong. I didn't care. I didn't think, oh, my wife and my kids. I didn't think none of that. I was just at peace. I wanted. The next thing I know, I'm coming back to with like 25 nurses in the room because I had bled out from the surgery the next day. So I bled out overnight. When I come back to and everything, everybody ran out of the room to go get equipment and all kind of stuff, trying to figure out what was wrong. A woman came in to try to draw my blood. And I don't know what it's called. She did that CNA stuff. The syringe that they draw blood with. Mm-hmm. The little tube. Yeah. There's the tube, then there's the needle, and then there's the
They're gonna know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, my blood wouldn't even come up the first little tube. I had no blood in my veins. I should not be here. And that's exactly what the woman said. She said, medically speaking, you shouldn't be here. Well, I'm here. And I felt like the Lord was pushing me to do something. I didn't know what it was. I guess because I wasn't listening. I don't know. I have to say it. I wasn't listening. Then I got pulled to start doing this. December of 2019, I had another surgery, a sinus surgery. And I bled out once again, right in front of her, once again. And this time, I posted this before, and I even showed a video pretty much of what I saw. But once again, I felt a peace. This time I saw a bright light. Didn't see anything other than the bright light. But I heard, it was so weird. It was like a celebration. So many people were talking. At one time, I couldn't even understand words. It was just huge commotion. And they were laughing. I heard it sound like wine glasses tapping. And the next thing I know, some kid come up to me through the bright light and told me to wake up 3 times. And when I came back to, she was in my face. And here I am today. Still trying my best. Though I feel less than a man. I'm not going to lie about that. I feel less than a man. Because I can't do the things that I'm supposed to do as a man anymore. Because my body's so messed up from the injuries and surgeries, and people look, you know, I feel judged all the time. But I trust in the Lord. And I'm waiting patiently. And trust me, I want to be gone too. I want to be out of here. But I'm waiting on the Lord. So I'm going to let you tell how, what led you up to me, how everything was before.
Before we met?
Yeah, and then when we met and everything.
Are you gonna edit this out?
No, I can't. I can't. I'm just gonna let it go. All natural.
Before I met him, I partied a lot. I drank a lot. Did a lot of drugs.
I know about all that too.
A lot. I was free, is what I wanted to be, because I was left. And I went into a foster home that I didn't want to be in. Then I was treated as if I was Cinderella. And I just wanted to get away from that. And I wanted to go be with my friends, and I couldn't even do that. And then I ran away, was put into a group home kind of place, and I got out of the group home, and they took me right back to that foster home that I didn't want to be in. And I'll never forget that day. My friend Katie came over and spent the night with me. She told me, "Hey, I saw your uncle at a gathering, someone that they knew, and he's been trying to find you." And then I left from there because my uncle came and picked me up after a couple of days, because I had left the foster home that I was in, and I actually went to the foster dad's grandma's house, and I had spilled everything that had been going on there and everything that I was going through, and I said that I wasn't going back there, and because my uncle, I was still underage. My uncle was trying to do everything he could to get me away from there. But by law, there was nothing that he could do because they had guardianship of me. And it wasn't until my foster mom called me and said, "Hey, your uncle's here." And I went and lived with my uncle, and then I had freedom. I could do whatever I wanted. I mean, I still had boundaries, like I still had curfews, but I could go hang out with my friends whenever I wanted. And then I got a job, moved out of my uncle's house, and that's whenever partying, drugs, more partying. I'm telling you, drinking till I blacked out and not even know how I got home one night. And that night that I didn't know how I got home, I said I was done with that. So I quit associating with the people that I was associating with just going out partying and all that type of stuff. And Gary's brother was at one of the bars that I was at all the time, and he was there. And I was at his cousin's house, and he goes, "Hey, I have someone that I want you to meet. And I want you to meet my brother." And I was like, "Okay. Oh, what does he look like?" And this was whenever MySpace was a thing. And he goes, "Well, I have two brothers." And he showed me one of them. And I said, "Nope, I do not want to meet him." And I said, "Well, what does the other brother look like?" And he told me his name. I pulled him up on MySpace, and there was this extremely blurry profile picture.
Yeah, the picture was like 3 years old.
In a white hat, doing this. And
Yeah.
and I said, I'll meet him. I mean, what is meeting someone gonna hurt? And I called him. Well, Brian called him, and we literally talked on the phone for like 2 hours.
I don't think it was that long, probably 45 minutes or so.
It was 2 hours.
I don't remember
because
where y'all were down south.
Yep, we went to Manny and back to Nash and then to Fairview. And then we went and picked him up. And I saw him. It was really dark. We were underneath the carport.
Man, you had on big baggy clothes.
I did. I was just in either he was going to like me for who I am, or he wasn't going to like me at all. I am not the preppy type. I am sweatpants and an oversized t-shirt person, and that is what I was wearing whenever we met. And he got in the car, and we got going down. We were about to leave from where he was at, and he says, "You are 18, right?" And I was like, yeah,
No, we got
18.
pulled over by the cop when I asked that because it was like
That's
2
right.
o'clock in the morning.
You said, you are 18, right? And I was like, yeah. He goes, can I see your ID?
I wasn't taking no chances.
And he looked at my ID like he was some sort of cop, holding it up to a light,
I wasn't taking
trying
no
to make
chances.
sure that I was 18.
Because you really did look like you were about 12 or 13. You were a little bitty. That's why I called you Pocket.
And we got back to his cousin's house. And I'm that type of person that if we can't hold a conversation, then I don't see anything there. I talk, and I talk a lot.
And I was shy.
He was shy.
I
And
still am in a way. Well, I'm more open now that I found the Lord.
and we talked for, I don't know, a
Probably
couple hours.
4 hours, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was till like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that night, you know, whenever women say, I know that that's the person I'm going to marry whenever they see them, that is 100% true.
I can say the same.
I saw Gary and we talked about everything that night. Everything. And my trauma, we talked. And
I didn't too much have any trauma back then.
if he couldn't handle that, then he couldn't handle me. And he listened. And that is the night that I knew that he was going to be the man that I married and spent the rest of my life with.
I always thought it was because you knew that I didn't care what someone looked like. Because you had the big clothes on and all that other stuff. And then when we got back where you were going, I was just wondering, I was like, why are you going to take a shower? We ain't even got to know each other yet. But you went and took a shower. And she come out of there looking like a different person. I was like, who's that? I don't know.
And then we got married a year later. I found out that I was having a baby, and I didn't tell him. Because my family likes to put things in people's heads that aren't true.
Mm-hmm. Someone did.
And he had broke up with me. And I was...
Not because you didn't tell me you were pregnant.
crushed. I was crushed.
I broke up with her because someone lied and said that she was cheating on me. And I was so traumatized by that because of the relationship before her. And I broke up with her, and then as soon as I hung up the phone, I started feeling so bad. I was like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? And I'm glad you called me back. A couple hours later, you sure did. You called me back. And then it just went from there.
And then he didn't break up with me because I was pregnant.
Mm-mm.
I didn't tell him I was pregnant until October the 31st.
Yeah, it was Halloween.
I told him I was pregnant, but I had known for like 3 weeks, and I didn't tell him that because if he broke up with me, then I didn't want him just to be with me because we were having a baby together. So I kept that secret. And whenever I knew that he wasn't going to listen to the lies that was being spewed, I told him, and then we moved in together. Was it November, December?
I think it was December.
December. And
Neither one of us knew the Lord then.
no, I had been to church whenever I was a kid,
Yeah, church
but I
didn't
was,
count.
and I went to a Christian school, and I was a kid. I didn't know much
I didn't
about
know
the
anything.
Lord
I didn't know anything about the Lord.
at all. I was going to socialize pretty much.
I don't even think really nobody's ever tried to talk to me about the Lord in my past. And I found him after I saw you get saved. Like, truly, I don't know. I just know I wanted that. Then you fell away. I didn't tell you, that broke me.
I did. I fell away. I turned into, after Kaysen, everything that I had been through, it was, none of that was anything compared to losing a child. Whenever I was a kid, I felt the most traumatic thing was losing my grandpa.
Yeah, losing our son and my dad.
Losing Kaysen.
I don't know what it was about with my dad, but that hurt me so bad. I guess because that was my best friend. And I didn't have that anymore.
Losing Kaysen destroyed me. It turned me into a very, very mean person.
I didn't stop praying for you, though. I prayed for you all the time.
I thank God every day that He brought Barry and I together.
Same here. I'd probably be in a ditch somewhere if I wouldn't have met you. Danielle I was at that point in my life where I didn't care anymore. Literally, I didn't care if I lived or died. I had no care for other people. You know that. I hated everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't like nobody.
I was just going through life.
That's how I feel too. Just felt like I didn't have a purpose, a point. And plus, when everybody kind of treats you like that, like you're a waste of space, that kind of puts it in your head that that's what you are.
I was all about partying and money. I had money. 18 years old, I had
you did.
A ton of money.
You had it everywhere, all in your car. I was like, you're not going to put that in a glove box or something? I mean, it was up in the visors. It was on the floor. I was like, what are you doing?
I had a ton of money. All I did was party and work. That's it. And it was... And then suicidal thoughts, attempting.
Been there.
It.
After, only she knows this, after our son died, it was about 2 days later, went and got a shotgun and I put it under my chin and I locked the door. And for some reason, the door didn't lock. Like, it was locked, but it didn't shut all the way. And then she come walking in with our oldest son and stopped me. I was just about to squeeze that trigger too. I couldn't deal with it. It was... Can't even explain it. It was rough. Just that thought of me picking him up in his bassinet, and he was already gone. It just hurt me so bad, so bad. But anyways, I wanted to just come share our story, and I don't know why I felt led to do this. I even pulled her out of the bed and I was like, come on, let's go do this video. So,
the thing that hurt me the most was, I think the thing that pulled me so far in hatred and anger is doing CPR on Kason that day. And you know, I knew right at the exact moment he wasn't coming back is whenever he started aspirating and blood was coming up out of his nose and his mouth. And I woke up so many times.
I want to tell y'all, I don't know why my family hates me. Not my mom and my dad, but everybody else. It's because she took our son next door to my uncle's house, my dad's brother. And my baby was dead on his floor, and she was giving him CPR. And I was hysterical. What my uncle told me, go home. He didn't have no compassion, no sympathy, just that rudeness. And through that, I can honestly say that was the first time in my life I actually physically hated somebody. It was my uncle. I hated him. But 4 years ago, I wrote him on Facebook and I told him that I forgive him for being so mean to me. And I told him that I hope he repents, because I hope and pray that he'd be in heaven. Next day I get a phone call from my mom, and my aunt had cussed my mom out because I wrote my uncle that. Didn't say anything mean to him. Not at all. I even read my mom what I said. And she was pretty upset the fact that she would cuss her out for that message. And these people are churchgoers. That's why I don't attend those buildings, because they're all the same in there. You know, reading the Bible, I don't fit in those buildings. Where two or more are gathered, there's Jesus amongst them. Me and you congregate all the time.
We do.
That's our story, folks. Sorry if it bored many of you. Keep looking up, church. Jesus is coming very soon. Time is up.
Romans 10:9-13.
There you go.
Love all of you and God bless.
You know me too well. God bless y'all.